Yep, I decided to bring back my new 2015 MacBook Pro, which I bought about a month ago, and exchange it for a new 2016 MacBook Pro, contradicting things I said in previous videos. But let me explain. First of all, whether I buy a 2016 MacBook Pro or a 2015 or a Windows machine or a horse shouldn't affect your decision in terms of what computer you are going to buy, because everybody has a different use case. You may be looking for a computer for particular needs that are very different than my particular needs. So that's a big issue. You may have different budget requirements. You may be making much more than me. You may be making much less than me. If you are a student who is just taking notes, just learning how to program, you probably don't need the fastest computer there is out there, that's for sure. On the other hand, if you're doing video work every day and that's your main work, lots of video work, or maybe you're doing a lot of development and you got virtual machines running, it's very intense, well, maybe you need a faster machine. It depends on your particular use case. So I was watching all these reviews on the MacBook Pro, and I got influenced by them, especially the negative ones with regards to all the dongles being missing. Well, not all dongles being missing, all the ports being missing, so you needed dongles. And the other complaints you heard about, like, not being a touch screen, which, again, to me, it should have been a touch screen, but, the MagSafe, and then people were really getting into nitpicking things that I didn't even think about, was like whether the Apple logo on the back was glowing or not. So at the end of the day, I was listening to all these reviews and I was influenced. I said, I'm just getting a 2015. But here's the problem with that. The problem is that when you buy a 2015 MacBook Pro when the 2016 is out, the 2015 does not have a USB-C port. It has all kinds of other ports, all the old legacy ports, but it doesn't have USB-C. And to me, that's a problem, because when you buy Macs, these are not machines that you're going to be upgrading typically every year. At least I don't. And so we see quickly USB-C is starting to take hold now in terms of peripherals, and it's just such a useful port. In terms that USB-C can be used to power monitors and to charge your computer and to connect to hard drives. It's the universal port. My Google Pixel is USB-C. The game changer for me, is the reason I went with the 2016 ultimately, is because I wanted to be able to drive 5K and 4K monitors. The MacBook Pro 2015 that I bought only had Intel integrated graphics, and as far as I understood, it could not even drive a 4K monitor at 60 hertz. It could only drive it at 30 hertz. Now, you may not know the difference between 30 hertz and 60 hertz. When you're driving a monitor at 30 hertz, it's like you have a mouse pointer that's drunk, or a mouse pointer that's being dragged through snow or through sand. It's really slow and it's just really annoying, and I can't take it. So that to me was the game changer, because I wanted to be able to drive 4K and 5K displays. The MacBook Pro 2015 could not do it with the integrated graphics, and I couldn't find any new MacBook Pro 2015s with dedicated graphics. That's the GPU. So there you go. That was a game changer for me. So I decided to take a risk. I bought the 2016, still had the 2015, and Apple has such great customer service. You may fault them for this or that or the other thing, but they have such great customer service that I had both the 2015 and the 2016. I was able to compare. And I actually cloned the hard drive of the 2015 onto the 2016. So I had the exact same hard drives in terms of the file structure and the apps and the video projects. So I took a video project that was in my 2016, was on my 2015, put it on the 2016, and I rendered the same video project on both machines. And to my surprise, the 2016 was able to render out the video at 30-40% faster, 30-40% faster. So instead of being 10 minutes, it was like 6 minutes to render out the same file. And that to me is extremely significant, because when I put out a course, it could be 100 videos. So it adds up in terms of time. In terms of other performance, I just noticed that it was just zippier overall, much faster. The keyboard on the new Mac is fine for me. But again, the main point I think of this video is that you have to choose the computer based on your needs. And I would suggest always buy for forward compatibility. Yes, at the end of the day, I did have to get one dongle, right? That's the thing. It's funny. You buy an Apple computer, these are like $2,000, $3,000 computers, and people are complaining that they're going to have to spend $50 more on a dongle. That's kind of, if you're going to spend that much money, you might as well just buy the dongle to get that extra power and that extra capability. And yeah, so for me, if you want to know, although it's not relevant, why did I get the new MacBook Pro 2016? Rendered my videos 30-40% faster. It had USB-C. It could drive 4 and 5K displays with no problem. Those are the three main things. And the ability to drive the 5K displays for me, because I use external monitors all the time. You see, I have an old video on YouTube from 2012. To me, I always use my laptops connected to an external monitor all the time, and an external Bluetooth keyboard and mouse. I don't use wired keyboards and mouse to connect to my laptop. So, and the dongle thing was this, it became a non-issue for me because I just needed one dongle to go from my 2016 MacBook Pro into my Thunderbolt monitor. There we go. And the Thunderbolt monitor has all kinds of ports built in, as USBs and stuff like that. So that solved all my problems. So that's it. One dongle, and I got a much faster machine. It was a little bit more expensive, that's true, but to be able to render at 30% to 40% faster, that was it. That productivity will account for the increased expense. But then again, like I said, who cares what I want? Depends. My needs are going to be different from your needs with regards to a computer. So that's why there's always different types of computers and different configurations. And so just consider strongly what you need and take every review with a grain of salt. Ciao, ciao. So I saw that latest Star Wars film, Rogue One, and whatever. It's kind of like Star Wars meets Saving Private Ryan. That's the best way I could describe it. It's pretty good. It's not great. I would just wait for Netflix personally. But that's just my taste. Bye-bye.